Hi, I'm Jim. This is Al. We're so happy to be here and so excited to talk to you about breach clarity. If you're multitasking, feel free to join us for the public part of our demo, which is on our POC website at breachclarity.com. We are a company that is focused on, first and foremost, on creating social goodness through stronger financial health for every person in every segment. And we're going to do that through stronger customer empowerment, through literally every type of retail financial services provider, from large bank to credit union, community bank, investor, lender, broker, you name it. Did you know that in a typical US day, on US alone, there are nearly 4 publicly reported data breaches? These breaches create what? Of course, it's identity theft and fraud, which, based on numbers from the company I founded many years ago and sold a few years ago, Javelin Strategy and Research, and Al went on to run Javelin Strategy and Research, creates $15 billion in the typical US year, US alone, in identity theft and fraud. This has many follow-on costs, of course, for financial services providers and makes it harder for many people to digitally engage with their financial provider. Al will be walking through the demo here of how simple breach clarity is to use, again, for literally every financial provider and type of consumer. I'll type in Anthem, because if I was notified of a breach, and this is one of many data breaches that I served as an expert witness on following me selling Javelin Strategy and Research, the consumer would choose the one that's at the top of the list at the time just after it occurred, and it's really simple. No one enters any PII. We're using our exclusive patent-pending 900-element algorithm that I wrote, which uses public information shown in the middle, that is what was exposed in any particular US data breach, there are thousands each year, to show 3 main things. A Richter scale-like score, and we aim to be the Richter scale of all data breaches, first in the US and then globally. In the lower left, what risks are created? In the upper right, what action steps best mitigate against those risks? Your customer is certainly not stupid or unmotivated, although some security people tear their hair out and think so. They just lack breach clarity, and that's why they don't take action. Let's enter another data breach. I will enter in Equifax. This is the big one. I served on as an expert witness on this one as well. Many people were told in the media that this was a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. It wasn't. It was dangerous. It exposed SSNs, but as you could see in the lower left or in the upper right, this breach wasn't as dangerous, even although it did create some risks in the lower left that you need to pay attention to, you and your customer. Remember, in the upper right, particular action steps that were different from Anthem and every other breach, and what people should do to take action. Well, in the lower right, we have an offer that's free. It will always be free for every consumer, which is they can get 10 times as many outputs from breach clarity by simply entering the name of their financial provider or their zip code in the US or region in the world, and we expand there later, to find out if their financial provider offers the extended outputs of breach clarity. When they do that, let's say this is Bob Jones and he types in Arrington Bank. The bad news is Arrington hasn't licensed breach clarity for use by their customers or members. So when he does that, he sees that Giant Bank, though, does. And Giant Bank is one of the people that maybe they talked to us here today and they licensed our technology. When he logs in, when he clicks on this, he sees that he needs to log into Giant Bank. Maybe he opened an account there or he was thinking about opening one. Logs in the normal way. He's behind the firewall. He sees a jumping point wherever Giant Bank wanted to place it to breach clarity, and he repeats the process. If he types in Equifax, it's the same thing as before, except he gets about 10 times as much information to address something everybody at every financial services institution thinks about all the time: data breaches and identity theft. In the lower left, you'll notice there's far more risks that are shown. On the right side, far more action steps to best mitigate against the particular risks that match up against any data breach. And many of those action steps, you'll notice, line up against particular bank capabilities. On the next screen, you can see that Bob can go on to see his unique fingerprint of data breaches, as I like to call it, or breach history, and we can dynamically connect to trends on the dark web to keep the customer updated on what's going on with his background. Al, can you take us through some more examples?
Sure. I think another thing to mention is now the bank has all this intelligence on Bob, and it can action on that intelligence on the back end. But Bob also wants to take action, right? Bob wants peace of mind. So what does that look like? Well, we could pick a breach. or another one like Home Depot. Now, Home Depot was a 3 out of 10. Well, Bob's really interested in other risks, right? What does this mean for Bob? Well, Bob sees that his biggest risks are to his existing accounts. Bob wants to protect those accounts. He's worked very hard for what's in them, right? He takes it personally. He's going to see on the right, now this is really where breach clarity brings the customer together with the bank. He's going to see these action steps. Now, some of them are external to the bank, but there are a number that are within the bank itself. This is creating a pathway for Bob to turn these on, right? He's incented to do so now because he cares about the breach. He's going to get taken to the security center. He goes down, he sees the controls. Now, he may not freeze that card. It's a debit card. He uses it all the time. It's not going to be convenient, but he does want to monitor the account, right? So he turns the alerts on, and he's done. What does this do for the bank? Well, it does a couple things, right? Number one, it improves experience for Bob, which makes the relationship more sticky, but it also helps to lower costs. Now, because in this particular case, the bank doesn't need to reissue, right? It doesn't need to tighten up authorization, so it preserves interchange, it's reducing false positives. It's good for Bob and it's good for the bank. The next time there's a breach, where's Bob going to go? He's going to go back to his bank. He's going to get educated. He's going to take action. Now, Giant Bank has a lot of competitors who are trying to figure out how to get their customers to do things like turn on alerts, turn on card controls, right? Turn on two-factor authentication. Giant Bank has an answer in breach clarity. Right? Breach clarity helps to empower customers to protect their financial wellness. And we want to partner with consumers and their financial institutions to stop the scourge of identity theft and data breaches. Jim?
Thanks, Al. We're really excited to be talking to a number of people about becoming first movers, the first to be in that, what we call the FI Finder box in the lower right. We hope you'll come talk to us on a break with your ideas and questions. Thank you.